welcome everyone to the David Brinkley Studios at Barry University. This is Dr. Michael Woodward's class on instructional strategies, on creative instructional strategies. And today we're going to be working on yet another video lesson from the Peace Education Foundation curriculum, the PeaceWorks curriculum, especially focusing on social emotional learning as a way of gaining skills for conflict resolution. And as you know, conflicts are a part of our students' lives, they're a part of our lives. It's how we manage our conflicts so that they don't become violent acts of aggression, which is what we always want to prevent. And as teachers, that's a big thing for your safety and the safety of your students. So as you remember, because we've been together before, our eye care rules kind of guide us in our classroom in terms of all of those conflict resolution and social emotional skills that our students need, that we need to, as the adults, to bring into the classroom and model. So if we go over them real quick. Number one, we listen to each other. Our hands are for helping, not hurting. We use eye care language, those magic words, the please, the I'm sorry, the excuse me, the may I's, right? Mm-hmm. And we care about each other's feelings, the importance of the affective piece in the classroom, our feelings, right? Because we don't leave them at the door when we come into the classroom. And finally, we are responsible what we say and do. We need to teach our students how to be responsible in the classroom and responsible citizens, right? So these are life skills. But today, especially, we're gonna work on number 4. We care about each other's feelings, especially looking at anger. Because anger, if we don't know how to manage our anger, well, we know what happens out on the street with road rage, with so much violence that's happening in our schools, in our community, and so much of it is due to the fact that we really don't know how to manage our anger. And certainly after the pandemic, our students really suffered a lot, socially, emotionally, and that's still going on. So we're gonna be working with this wonderful lesson, My Temperature's Rising. And we're gonna look at the anger thermometer, because that's a classic. And we can use the anger thermometer. In fact, in our curriculum, it's kind of used from preschool all the way on to grade 12 in different variations. But it's a great way of identifying our feelings. And in our activity here today, in our lesson, we have for our students in our student, and you all have your student activity page with you, we have different scenarios that we're gonna, typical scenarios that we all experience, and actually all grade levels, right? This is appropriate for all grade levels, and in fact, for us even as adults. So we're gonna take a look at each and every one of them and see how you feel when this happens and what you typically do, when you are faced with. The first scenario, when someone calls you a name, Nicolette, how do you typically feel?
Frustrated.
Frustrated. And how do you typically react to someone, think of recently, that called you a name and you felt really frustrated? How did you react to that? How do you typically react?
Would probably do the same thing in return.
All right, there we go. That's an honest answer. And how about you, Kylene?
Usually I'd have no problem, but if it keeps going, then I would start getting annoyed and start teasing them back for sure.
Okay, so you would get to the level of annoyed on your temperature. You would get to annoyed,
Yes.
all right? Okay, and you would like dish it back,
For
right?
sure.
Okay, Deborah, how about when somebody rats on you and tattles on you?
I would be a bit frustrated because I would want to know, coming from their perspective, what I did wrong as to why they would tattletale on me.
Right? Why are they throwing you under the bus?
What did I do wrong?
and so how would you typically react to that?
Usually I would just think to myself, what did I do wrong first before making accusations of like, oh, I probably did this wrong, or like they did something. I have to reflect personally before I do something.
That you kind of like bring it on yourself first. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. and enter into a reflection process. Okay, great. Michael, when someone says something about you that's not true, it's a flat out lie. How do you react to lies when someone lies about you?
It makes me really sad.
Oh,
Makes me really,
you're in the sad category. I
makes
had it
me
sad
really
over
sad.
here. Right? And how do you typically react to that?
Sometimes I ask myself, why would they say things like this that aren't true about me? And then I go find someone to hug.
Oh, so it doesn't elevate the temperature doesn't go up. Typically, it's sad. Okay.
This makes me sad.
All right. And Jesse, if someone were to, like, you're in the hallway in school, typically, and someone just bumps into you and pushes you, right? How do you feel about that, or how did you feel when it happened? I'm sure it happened to you at some point.
I feel annoyed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're all kind of over here. The temperature is not rising. Okay, and what would you typically do if someone pushes you in the hall or here at school?
I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna push them back.
Right? You'd push them right back. A harder push, maybe?
Maybe.
Excellent, right? We have to keep it real, right? And so I have to ask you the question, what would make you really angry or really furious? And just like bring the temperature up to boiling in the thermometer. Kylie, what kinds of things have you experienced that like really typically make you really, really furious?
I think definitely when someone says something about me that's not true, like false accusations.
Oh, so that's very interesting because for whatever reason, Michael goes into sad mode, you get really furious, super angry. So we all react to, different ways to different things because they trigger, different responses in us. How about you, Cindy? What makes you like super furious? Blow your top.
I think I have two. When someone tattles on me and they say something that's not true.
Right?
Just, whoop, it's over.
Right. And so in our world now where social media, just things explode, right? They get augmented, they get amplified. Imagine how that comes into play, right? How about you, Jesse? What like really triggers, makes your thermometer burst?
Honestly, whenever like somebody says something about my brother, then I lose it.
Oh, interesting. So you're your brother's protector.
Yeah, he's autistic and nonverbal. So.
Oh, wow. And that's what led you into special ed. Oh, how beautiful, right? So some of us really, when someone is being bullied or someone who's vulnerable or maybe voiceless, I'm gonna choke up here, and then here you are to defend it, right? And be their voice and be the one who's pushing back, right? So that really makes you furious. How about you, Nicolette? What makes you like super furious, makes you blow your top?
When someone pushes me.
All right.
Because I don't really like to be touched, so pushing is like a little bit extreme.
Right. You're in my space, right? You're touching me. It's definitely a red line, right? And how would you typically react to that?
I would probably fight back instead of pushing back.
Right. No, that's real. How about you, Deborah? What would make you,
Boiling mad.
boiling mad?
I think stuff that aren't true because I'm a very straight through person. I'm very kind. So for stuff to escalate to the point where I would have to get mad is when I probably lost all sanity. I think all patience, everything.
Right. That's when you completely lose it, right? And how about you, Michael? What gets you beyond sad? What triggers you beyond sad, man?
Typically when when I just get when counting to 10 doesn't work, or when my breathing and exercises don't work, and people just continue to tell stories that aren't true. It really hurts my feelings.
Right. Yeah. So when the strategies, the anger management strategies don't work, and I've reached that boiling point, things can get, out of hand. And that's what we need to first have our students like identify through these very simple case scenarios, right? What triggers my anger? What are the feelings that are involved? And for all of us, it's different. And then finally move us to, well, what can I do to manage my anger? And I invited impromptu Dr. Woodward to share with us. There's this great little poem, rhyme, rap. Some of you that are musicians can put it to music. And it's called My Temperature's Rising. So Michael, if you can share that with the class, that would be great.
Absolutely. My temperature's rising. My temperature's rising, and I'm kind of sad. Someone pushed me, and it made me mad. My temperature's rising. I'm quite annoyed because someone took my favorite toy. My temperature's rising. I'm boiling mad. My friend told a lie and insulted my dad. My temperature's rising. I'm about to burst. He called my mom a name, and now I want to curse. But I know what to do when I feel this way. I know to count to 10 and then to say, I feel angry when you do this to me. Please stop right now, and friends we will be.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. So, and the other ways that we can explore with our students, what works for them, right? When their temperature's rising, what can they do? And breathe, and talk to a friend, and go out for a walk, right? Tapping, we understand that tapping is a wonderful strategy, right? To sort of bring us to being present and conscious and, as a way of managing our anger. What do you think about this lesson, my friends? Why do you think this would be important for us? Because dealing with anger for us as teachers in the classroom is super important. And how to convey this social emotional strategy to our students. Why is this important? Yes, Cindy?
I think this is great because this can teach kids how to communicate with one another. Sometimes in the classroom, a kid could be doing something and unaware that the other student is feeling uncomfortable. So this shows that the child can use their words and say, please stop, and it's bothering me and whatnot. So
Excellent.
communication.
That communication, right? Communicating your feelings, right? What else? Help me out. What other ways do you think this lesson was helpful and effective? Nicolette?
Not only for kids, but for us, as aspiring to be professors and teachers, we don't know where a student will make us mad, so we have to show that example towards them.
Excellent, excellent. How about you over here, Jesse?
I would go with like the same thing that they both said, and that it can also teach students how to regulate their anger and learn how to respond to things.
So self-regulation, very important. Behavior management in the classroom. What else, Kenny?
I like how towards the end, I know to count to 10 and then to say. So before you react, to center yourself, breathe, count to 10, and then share how you're feeling.
Excellent. How about you, Deborah?
I feel like both as like student and for teachers, it's to reflect that maybe their intentions weren't necessarily the way that it should have been, and to reflect on both sides of what we could have done better, especially as a teacher, how could I have reacted differently to this case? Or as a student, how could I have said the words or phrase it differently to the other student?
Oh, excellent, excellent. That's wonderful. So enter
Yeah.
into that kind of reflection, self-reflection. What could I have done? What could I have said? Right? And Michael, how about you?
I think having that time to debrief with a child is always something that should never be taken for granted. As we all continue to learn how to grow and evolve and regulate our emotions, like Jessica had recently mentioned, I think it's non-negotiable, and it's definitely something that should be prioritized with each and every child.
Thank you, thank you. Well, we are so appreciative of your presence here today, and of taking the time to model this peace education lesson on anger and understanding how our temperatures are rising, when we are impacted, when we experience different conflicts and different problems in our daily lives, so that we can teach our children these life skills, these conflict resolution skills, these critical social emotional learning skills, so that they can thrive and be resilient children, and so that we as adults can be able to model this peaceful behavior in the classroom. Thank you so much.
Thank you.